So we've seen how Express will match a URL and then run a function for us where we can handle the request and response. But it actually does a lot more than that. Let's take a quick look at routing in Express. We're not going to take a look at every option for routing in this course, but the best place to learn is at Express's website, expressjs.com. It has a ton of absolutely terrific documentation on what you can do, what kind of things you can match. You can go to the guide and go to routing. And we'll talk about some of these things, but here there is a whole wealth of things that you can do as far as matches are concerned, meaning that we can search not just for a particular URL, but for matching patterns. We can say if I see something that looks like this and it might match multiple URLs, then run this. This can be extremely useful in real-world applications. But let's just take a look at one scenario, passing variables via the route. Let's try adding a different kind of route, one that has a variable in it. So I'll make a new route, and let's say /person. So any URL that starts with /person and then slash, and then I'll say :ID. This is my variable name. And the colon tells Express, the JavaScript code in Express, that this could be anything. So if the URL that is requested in the HTTP request is /person/something, this function will be run. Make sense? And then I'll just take this and I'll say person : and I'll just do this. I could do this ES6 style, but I'll just do this old school style. And how do you then access this variable? Well, it's in the request in an object called params, and then the name of the variable as I specified it in this route. So when an HTTP request comes in, Express will look at that URL given by Node, and it will find a match because it will see if I request something like /person/3 or /person/Tony. It will see that and drop that value using this name onto this object. And then it's available to me. So I've run this, NodeMon restarted for me, and I'll go to localhost 3000. There's the match for the slash, the match for the API, and I'll go /person/1. And there it is. So what happened? Well, again, this was matched. It looked for and allowed anything to be there, ran this function, and then I outputted as the HTTP response this HTML, and I went ahead and included this value that Express put onto this params variable for me. And this could really be anything. 2, it could be Tony. So this is a way to use the URL and pull data out of it, data that might change. This is very common with things like e-commerce and blogs and other websites. So you can just use this, and you could have multiple. You could have person/page/ID, and these would be 2 different variables. So that's pretty neat, right? It does pattern matching, and it does a variety of pattern matching and lets me pull out specific values in the pattern. And so I have full flexibility on dealing with my routes, and I don't have to do too much work in order to make this happen.